All right, today we're going to start reading The Hunger Games. Our objectives in reading The Hunger Games is to make connections between the historical events and the fictional events that are in the book and in our text that we've been reading about American history and specifically the Civil War. We're going to analyze the main themes in the book, and we're going to relate them to the Revolutionary War period, and we're also going to relate them to your lives today. We're going to identify the important people from the historical period and also from the book, and then we're going to do some comparing and contrasting of those people and their characters and the decisions that they made and the effects that those decisions had on others. This is also going to give you an opportunity to use your reading skills and your comprehension strategies that we've been working on. So first thing we're going to do is we're just going to look at the cover of this book. This is The Hunger Game. It's by Suzanne Collins. What I want you to do is to look this over, and for those of you that have read the book, don't think about what you know. Just look at the cover and think about, what's this book about? What does the cover tell us about this story, if anything? Can you make any predictions based on this? The next thing we're going to do is a read aloud. I'm going to do a read aloud from the first chapter, because by the end of the first chapter, you're going to want to read this story. I prop myself up on one elbow. There's enough light in the bedroom to see them. My little sister Prim, curled up on her side, cocooned in my mother's body, their cheeks pressed together. In sleep, my mother looks younger, still worn, but not so beaten down. Prim's face is as fresh as a raindrop, as lovely as the prim rose for which she has been named. My mother was very beautiful once too, or so they tell me. Sitting at Prim's knees, guarding her, is the world's ugliest cat. Mashed in nose, half of one ear missing, eyes the color of rotting squash. Prim named him Buttercup, insisting that his muddy yellow coat matched the bright flower. He hates me, or at least distrusts me. Even though it was years ago, I think he still remembers how I tried to drown him in a bucket when Prim brought him home. Scrawny kitten, belly swollen with worms, crawling with fleas. The last thing I needed was another mouth to feed. But Prim begged so hard, cried even. I had to let him stay. It turned out okay. My mother got rid of the vermin, and he's a born mouser. Even catches the occasional rat. Sometimes when I clean a kill, I feed Buttercup the entrails, and he has stopped hissing at me. As soon as I'm in the trees, I retrieve the bow and sheath of arrows from the hollow log. Electrified or not, the fence has been successful at keeping the flesh eaters out of District 12. Inside the woods, they roam freely, and there are added concerns like venomous snakes, rabid animals, and no real paths to follow. But there is also food, if you know how to find it. My father knew, and he taught me some before he was blown to bits in a mine explosion. There was nothing even to bury. I was 11 then. 5 years later, I still wake up screaming for him to run. So right now I'm kind of thinking about, what do I know already? I know we've got this girl, and for whatever reason, she seems to be in charge of the family, and then we find out that her dad is gone. So she knows how to hunt, so she sneaks into the woods and she hunts and she provides food for her family. So she kind of takes care of everybody. And now I'm wondering, okay, so now she's out in the woods and she's going to go hunting, and then she's going to come back, and I wonder what's going to go on now. And what's with this special day? I wonder what that's all about. The rules of the Hunger Games are simple. In punishment for the uprising, each of the 12 districts must provide one girl and one boy, called tributes, to participate. The 24 tributes will be imprisoned in a vast outdoor arena that could hold anything from a burning desert to a frozen wasteland. Over a period of several weeks, the competitors must fight to the death. The last tribute standing wins. Bright and bubbly as ever, Effie Trinket trots to the podium and gives her signature, "Happy Hunger Games, and may the odds be ever in your favor." It's time for the drawing. Effie Trinket says, as she always does, "Ladies first," and crosses to the glass ball with the girls' names. She reaches in, digs her hand deep into the balls, and pulls out a slip of paper. The crowd draws in a collective breath, and then you could hear a pin drop. And I'm feeling nauseous and so desperately hoping that it's not me, that it's not me, that it's not me. Effie Trinket crosses back to the podium, smooths the slip of paper, and reads out the name in a clear voice. And it's not me. It's Primrose Everdeen. Wow. So what do you think is going to happen? Give me some predictions. What do you think is going to happen next? Can any of you make any connections here with your life or with any other books we've read? Or maybe with something even in history? Can you make any connections with any of our protagonists and antagonists in our historical Revolutionary War? You know, what do you know about these characters and how they interact? What do you think is going to happen next in this story? Those of you that have seen the movie or read the book, you already know what's going to happen next. But those of you that haven't, what do you think? You know, this girl's little sister that she really, really cares about has just been chosen to be a tribute who's going to have to go to this place, wherever it is, and fight to her death. What do you think? What would you do? What would you do if that was your little sister? You know, and you knew that maybe they couldn't take care of themselves as well as you could. How would you handle